Hello and welcome to No Apologies on Beck, where we are unafraid to speak the truth. I am your host, Rick Becker, and our co-host, Lori Hintz.
It is good to be here tonight. We've got some really fun stuff tonight, and some interesting things, and a great guest with us, too.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting show. We're also going to do a little brain food, Biden's executive orders. First, we're talking about kind of just a loose topic, but it has been covered in the news in the last 24 hours, and it deals with Newtown.
Well, it came to our attention because a whistleblower sent us some information, and we thought, okay, this is interesting. Can you send us the email? And we have an email that kind of tells the story, so let's show that. Okay, so this is from Beth Zietz, as you can see, and this arrived just a couple days ago. So it was sent Wednesday morning, and it was sent to staff. It was all staff of the Newtown Public School District staff where they got this. And, well, should we go through a couple of parts of it, or do you want to read the whole thing?
No, let's flip up the next graphic here. It says here, the board approved, this is what happened at the board meeting, approved reducing the social distance from 6 feet to 3 feet per CDC guidelines. That's because Dr. Anthony Fauci decided that that's what was needed. Masks and desk barriers are to be used. Per your building principal's direction, students may start using lockers. Great signs. We're a little closer to the end of this pandemic.
Lockers. That's great. Good for them. Lockers are a big deal. So the next one says, the board recognizes the loyalty of those who have already gotten vaccinated. If you have received at least meaning one, I'm assuming, one COVID-19 vaccination by March 23rd, you'll be receiving a $1,500 in-pocket after taxes loyalty check. Thank you for protecting yourself and others, it says.
Yes.
We can stop right here for a moment here. You get a loyalty check?
Loyalty check. Is this not propaganda?
Loyalty check? Loyalty to vaccines?
No, loyalty to all the people around you, because you are being selfless and doing what's best for them.
And so therefore you deserve cash in hand.
Yes, you do.
I was kind of astounded when I saw that, honestly, truthfully. I was like, I don't know if that sounds like a good idea.
Well, it's also interesting that the notice came out on the 24th, and the $1,500 is if you had already had at least one injection.
Right, I saw that.
So I don't know if they didn't notify the people before or did, but it's weird that the incentive, so it's not really an incentive because it's in the past. It's
retroactive, yeah.
So basically it's just a gift. So it's kind of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You guys followed the line.
You guys did what we asked you to do, and so therefore you obeyed.
You guys aren't the problem causers.
Right.
And so you get
dragging your
$1,500
feet. That's interesting.
And then if you flip up the next graphic, so for those where they are incentivizing, so if you guys were slow to the party, if you've been somewhat resistant, if you haven't jumped completely on board, waving the banner of being pro-vaccination and believing everything the government tells you, then you still have a chance to get at least $500 in pocket after taxes.
After taxes.
Loyalty.
Free money. It sounds like free money to me. It sounds like, thank you in advance for getting vaccinated. So those that receive the vaccination, so now you have a new deadline of May 15th in order to get another cash bonus on that. This is an interesting thing. It makes me very curious to know how many other schools are doing the same with their incentives. I doubt that the Bismarck Public Schools are doing the same thing. I did get a Bismarck Public School summary of their latest, most recent board meeting that I printed off today too. And they do say COVID-19 infection rates among staff and students remain low in Bismarck Public Schools. A survey was sent to employees to discern how many employees need assistance receiving their first vaccine dose. Out of 800 respondents, 92.1% in Bismarck Public Schools reported they did not need assistance, while 7.9% indicated they would like some help. Those who requested help have been assisted by Bismarck Public School Nurse Coordinator Kate Gartner. And that's the latest from Bismarck Public Schools. It just kind of made me wonder. So I went through to see if there was anything on here as well, too, about COVID-19 in the Bismarck Public Schools, because I thought, okay, I wonder if this is something that's pervasive amongst a lot of different schools.
Well, don't forget also, at least higher ed, UND in particular, were incentivizing people to get COVID tests.
Right.
So the little freebies, the
This
what
is not
have you.
new to COVID.
No. Also, businesses are jumping on board.
Oh, is that
Yes,
so?
businesses are incentivizing their employees. American Airlines gives any employees who are getting the vaccine an extra day off and $50.
Wow.
Amtrak is doing something similar. Kroger grocery store, here's $100 for getting that vaccine and being a loyalty person. McDonald's gives 4 hours of vacation, additional vacation pay. The NFL, for their players, gives certain privileges.
Oh, if they are vaccinated,
If you get vaccinated, you get certain privileges.
Which shall remain nameless, I'm certain. They're probably just not
Right.
letting everybody know. That's so
and then
interesting.
Israel, the country of Israel,
Well, that I did know.
is giving a discount on property taxes.
Really?
Yes.
I knew that they had very, very high compliance in the country of Israel as well. Well, that's very, very interesting. We were also told that the president of the school board at Newtown School, Delvin Driver Jr., said that apparently the monies to give these incentives came from oil royalties of some sort. Now, that would, I guess, make sense if it was from the tribes.
Yeah,
It's
possible.
hard to say. It wasn't delineated what oil royalties were being used for this incentive, but
Yeah, if it's a non-reservation school, then I would challenge that.
Right.
But I don't know what the case is. Nevertheless, you still have to ask if it's a good way to spend money, because maybe you're saying it's oil royalties. Well, it's still money that you could have spent on something for students,
Right.
instead of back paying people as a reward for being on your team. Which
I'm
is
just
essentially-
curious
essentially
about
this
how
is.
ethical this is. This just doesn't seem ethical to me, in that you are paying someone essentially to put something into their body. That just doesn't seem right to me. And tell me if I'm wrong. It just seems there's something that's really odd about that to me.
No, this is a very limited circumstance, but it freaks me out.
Me too.
It totally freaks me out, because when you put it in context of all of the other stuff with COVID,
Right.
all of the extreme alarmism, and all of the propaganda, and we're saying this, and then next thing we're going to say the opposite, but still believe us, and then we're going to again and again and again and again, and also telling half-truths and stomping out any dissenting or alternate opinions, completely stomping those out.
Right.
And then you've got this kind of thing where you're incentivizing people to do what you want and calling it a loyalty program, and the whole thing. Governor, everyone on board with the idea that you're showing compassion, you're showing your kind. It's North Dakota nice to do this,
Right.
which means if you
You
don't
are
do
not,
it,
the converse
you're
is,
not all those things.
Right.
So all of this weird government pressure to do
I'm
this.
also really curious how I would feel if I were a teacher. I'm trying to put myself in the position of a teacher in this situation. Would I feel like, okay, do I want to go for the money? What if I just don't feel comfortable having an experimental biological agent injected into my body? If I don't, will I be ostracized? Will I be, treated differently if I don't go for the incentive? Hey, what'd you do with your 15? Well, I didn't get a $1,500 one because I didn't get my vaccine yet.
Right.
There are so many ethical issues to me that go toward how the teachers must be feeling there, and I just want them to know. I want you to know, if you're a Newtown teacher and you do not want to get your vaccine, I empathize with you, because it's an odd and awkward position to put, I would think, teachers in.
It's very, very unusual. Well, at any rate, I guess we'll see what happens. We'll see if any other schools are going to do it.
And will they advertise it? I mean, that's the other thing, too, is this was amongst staff. It was sent to the staff. So it wasn't necessarily a public, it wasn't necessarily a press release that they put out that said, hey, this is what we're doing for our teachers. It was to their staff. But at the same time, we still know about it. So.
Yep. All right, next up, special guest. Hang with us, folks. We will be back in just a couple minutes.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature Heroes, with the region's only Hero meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
Hey Bucks fans, if you're planning an outing, birthday, or employee appreciation night, then bring your group out to the Buck Stop for a night of fast-paced, high-scoring football. Your group will receive discounted tickets, options for reserved seating, scoreboard messages, VIP services, swag, and a space to gather during the game. You can also participate in pre-game ceremonies, halftime entertainment, in-game contests, and more. Call 701-595-0771 or visit bismarckbucks.com/tickets. All GA is first come, first serve. We'll see you on the turf. Go Bucks!
Hey, welcome back. It's No Apologies on Beck, and we've got a special guest.
I am very excited to introduce Margo Knorr of North Dakota Conservative Advocates. Now, your group is starting to do some amazing things, especially with the legislature. And is it a group that started online on Facebook, or is it a group that started amongst people and then went online?
It started amongst people and then went online. It was a few of us making connections and just wanting to make a difference, seeing that slowly through COVID overreach, our freedoms were being taken away, our voices weren't being heard, and we're like, where is this all coming from? And I think all of us moms, and there's men involved as well in the group, we're just really taken back at what the future would look like for our children. We wanted to make a difference.
Well, it's a really great group online. If you have not found it at all, it's on a Facebook group, and I find just amazing activism on there.
Yes, and our president is incredible. She studies and researches and is in contact with so many different people on the bills that it's just incredible to see what she writes and information giving to all of us so that we can be aware of the bills that are coming through and
be active with what's going on too.
Right,
and reach out.
Yeah, being active.
Isn't that something how
learning how to be involved?
What we've been experiencing through COVID with this overreach of government and this, we were just talking about at the end of this last segment about this weird, it's just sort of like all enveloping government in our face and telling us what to do and what to think and what not to say. And I think it's fantastic that caused your group to form or at least to become active.
Yes, yeah, we were kind of like, what's going on? Talk about woke.
Right.
Woke us up.
Exactly.
You know, like we were just dumbfounded that this, the SARS virus has been around forever. And then I started researching the World Health Organization and finding out that this is not something that is new on their radar. They have been working towards some sort of a vaccination for this on a global level for, man, I could go back to 20 years ago and read about the SARS viruses. So that was fascinating.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about, first of all, the special person that you're bringing into Bismarck. And I love this guy. If you've never heard of Charlie Kirk before, and I've told people, I'm like, Charlie Kirk's coming. They're like, who's Charlie Kirk? Well, let me just tell you who Charlie Kirk is. Charlie Kirk is the president and founder of TPUSA, or Turning Point USA. And he was one of the speakers, and remember that big weekend right around my birthday where I binge watched all the CPAC shows? Yeah, all of the CPAC speakers, he was one of them that I watched. So I have a little clip for you to see, so just we can introduce people to Charlie Kirk and they can know who he is.
What happens if Google comes after you? What happens if Google decides to digitally assassinate a certain person? Like what we saw happen last month. They can wipe away the existence of an idea, of a human being, of a political movement instantaneously. So I understand lots of conservatives are hesitant to talk about challenging big tech, hesitant about challenging Menlo Park and Silicon Valley. But we as conservatives should not become corporatists. We as conservatives should ask ourselves, what does it mean to be a conservative? First and foremost, we are here to conserve God-given liberties and freedoms. We are here to protect the family, our country, the American way of life. And when a group of people in a concentrated area controlling trillion-dollar companies decide to impose a viewpoint that is completely contrary to the American way of life, and then we say, well, we can't do anything because they're a private company. Excuse me, as soon as you have 200 million users and 93% of all search results, you're not the local flower shop or the local coffee shop, and you shouldn't be treated as such. And we as conservatives must be very clear. If you do not support breaking up big tech or challenging big tech, you are not a conservative, you are a corporatist.
You are a corporatist if you do not believe in breaking up big tech. He is fantastic.
He really is. Yeah, we're so excited. The NDCA is bringing him in on April 19th to the Bismarck Belle Mahus.
Yeah, Belle Mahus.
Belle Mahus.
Yeah, Belle Mahus. And the Belle Mahus, if you've never been in that venue, is a lovely, historic, amazing building. You had a gubernatorial debate there, I recall. Yep. I sat up in the balcony. It is, there are no bad seats in the Belle Mahus. It seats about 850 people, I would say.
Yes,
and so it's going to be like a good intimate crowd. And I understand what you are doing is you are trying to get as many young people to be there as possible.
Yes, your college-age students that just are ready to learn about the Constitution and be, inspired to
get active.
Yeah, get active and be involved in American politics and what that's like. That is, we're a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, and we're intended to be involved and make our voices heard. So
exactly.
It's really great that we come in.
I think you're right on. He's a great voice, especially for young people. I think he's about 28.
Yeah.
And I know he was born in 1993 because I looked it up today.
Right.
But, and I had first seen him speak, I believe, in 2016 at the Republican National Convention, and I saw him again at a CPAC in the last couple of years.
Right.
And I've been very, very impressed with his skills in speaking and his grasp of the issues. Now, I actually disagree on what he just said.
Did you?
Yes. Nevertheless.
You don't think we have any business breaking up big tech? They are a company.
Well, we won't even go down that path. We won't even, but
He's
I would
triggered.
say probably 90% of the time I'm going to agree with Charlie Kirk because he generally, he gets it. And I think he's a great voice. So easy to listen to, and he speaks in a way that you can grasp and fully understand what he's saying.
Yeah, he's like a walking encyclopedia and this plethora of knowledge that you can just sit back and listen to him on constitutional values and the founding of our nation, and just that probably the breaking up tech has more to do with them being involved in government aspects more so than necessarily breaking up their companies. But Yeah.
Can you give me a little bit of the backstory, because your mom comes into play here
Yeah.
a little bit here. How do you get Charlie Kirk to Bismarck? And I just want you to know this is a big deal for me because I'm super excited about it. And I do think also, not only should, if you are a young person, you should get, because tickets are cheaper for you and you get really, really good seats. Hint, hint. Seriously, you could really get good seats.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that if you are a legislator, your butt should be there. You definitely, if you're a legislator, don't you think that they should?
I think it's important to show up when people that are active and interested in legislature put on an event, just to show that you care about what we're learning about.
100%. All right, quick, tell the story of your mother and how she got him here, because I think this is awesome.
Well, my mom, she shoots for the stars. So she actually a couple years ago brought him in for a graduation at a small private Christian school out at Johnson Corners.
I know, right?
And there was a graduate of one. And I don't know if he knew that before he got there, but
I love it.
I'm assuming he probably did. But he still talks about it, apparently. This an individual was down after CPAC visiting with him, and he's like, oh, is that school that was one graduate? So apparently now that's second, third hand. But yeah, she brought him in for graduation. He spoke to the graduate in the room full of people attending, and
love it.
The rest is history. So I kind of got Mom on the phone and said, maybe you could kind of give him a call again.
So I'm very excited. It is April 19th. You're going to definitely have to put that on the calendar. It is a Monday night, and session is still on, so people will be in town.
We'll be in town.
Yeah. So there's no reason we shouldn't have
I'm going.
I am too.
Well, I got to buy a ticket first.
I already got my ticket. I'm so excited. I got them right away. I'm totally.
Are you in the
going to
balcony?
No.
Are you going to have your opera glasses?
No. I do like those seats, though. Honestly, truthfully, there are very few left on the floor because the tickets are going pretty fast now.
Yeah.
I checked just last night, and there were about 30 some even on the floor left. So it is selling fast, so you will definitely want to get your tickets for Charlie Kirk. You can get them from the Bismarck Event Center page online. That's what I would
get
recommend.
mine right now.
Yeah.
Up on the balcony, though, lots of balcony seats.
Yes.
And those are great seats, too.
And I think the box suites just got released, so you can buy a
Okay.
pack of 4 there
Woo.
while you're at it.
I'm looking.
Awesome. It is. It's going to be really, really fun. He is fantastic. I think he's just going to bring an assistant with him. I talked to Tyler Boyer, who is the national committee man from Arizona, where he is based, and he works at TPUSA in addition to being the national committee man. So I texted him. I'm like, dude, are you coming? So we'll hopefully he might come up. He might come with him too. So
Do you know if he likes whiskey?
I don't. We can find out.
I'll have him and you and his team in my speakeasy that night if you want.
Oh, I love that so much. That's so
That
great. All right. Anyway, Charlie Kirk at the Balmayhus, April 19th. Margo Knorr is going to hold over for one. We're going to talk about a little different subject when we come right back.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
We're the ladies of Another View, bringing you a fresh view on local issues.
Thank you for your patience and understanding.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that the most condescending, rude email you've ever received?
Well, welcome to
National
the third
news.
term of a certain president. I really believe that.
And different perspectives you won't get on the mainstream media. Watch us weekday afternoons at 4:30 Central Time on Beck News and at beck.news.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Arrow Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck, your after-hours oasis of sanity. I'm your host, Rick Becker, our co-host, Lori Hintz,
Hi there.
and our special guest, Margo Knorr. Welcome. Thanks for staying with us.
Thanks for having me.
We've got a really interesting topic for you. First of all, her group, in case you didn't hear it before, is called North Dakota Conservative Advocates. So you're advocating for conservative values and things that are of interest to you in the legislature and lobbying, etc., correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. One of your most interesting ones is wastewater surveillance.
Oh, yeah.
And people are like, really, what's wastewater surveillance? That's kind of weird. What exactly is that all about? But you've got some interesting stats and information for us on that.
Well, I do. I'm terrified by it, for one. I was at school one day and our school secretary happened to mention, she's like, have you heard they're testing college kids' wastewater and then they're quarantining them in their dorms? I was like, no, I haven't heard about this. So I went through and researched, like at Colorado State University, they quarantined 900 students based off wastewater, healthy students, mind you. So they took the results, quarantined the students, then pressured to test clinically, which you're not supposed to do, that's illegal. And then ended up quarantining based on the results. So it scared me because I have a child that's going off to college in a couple years, and I thought, that's the last thing I want done to them. Like quarantining a whole bunch of kids with one unhealthy kid in the group in their dorms and not giving them access to medical care is beyond me. Like, how did they do this? How did they get away with it? So just kept researching the matter and found out that this was something that took place by NGOs, which are non-government organizations over in foreign countries that typically had maybe oppressive governments or very, very poor populations. And they would do this and try to track and trace disease and then target vaccination campaigns to the populations that they were testing the wastewater of. So long story short, I really didn't agree with what's taking place, and no one was being notified of it. So they would go, in our state, the Department of Environmental Quality went around to the wastewater collectors rather than taking it to the city council.
Wait. They bypassed the people so the people didn't even know.
Didn't even know. No. Still don't, I don't think. I think there's a lot of people that don't realize that they're in a research population right now.
Ooh, good to know.
Yeah, good to know. You are, Bismarck is.
Okay.
But there's a way out of this, and I've done a lot of brainstorming, and I firmly believe that if you are in a research population, from everything that I've read in the Belmont Report as well as the Research Act of 1974, that if you want to opt out at any time, you by law have the legal right to autonomy and being viewed as autonomous and to opt out. So if you're in Bismarck and you don't want it to be studied in such a way, you have the right to write David Glatt, he's the head of the Department of Environmental Quality, and ask to be opted out of the study.
Okay, so we happen to have David Glatt's email address, and there you see it on your screen, dglatt@nd.gov. We're going to leave it up there for a while we talk.
Yes, and Fargo, you might want to as well. Just say you opt out if you don't want to be studied that way, because typical testing of wastewater, you know, we test it for salmonella, listeria, E. coli to make sure the water is safe to return to the resident or to the environment. But what this does is it's repeated and ongoing, like multiple times a week, testing the wastewater to study the population within the area. And then reading like legal journals on it, you know, the debate is to restrict movement of the population. So like if you wanted to take a flight somewhere, if their wastewater results aren't good in the apartment you live in or in the housing district you live in, down the road that might become an issue.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, this one is also very, very concerning because you've got those concerns on a macro level for, say, a whole community, which in and of itself is a concern. But then, as you pointed out, when it's brought to a specific building, a dorm, then that really identifies a small group of individuals that, in my estimation, have lost privacy rights and have lost a lot of control. And if you can do it, people might say, well, you know, it's a government school and it's a dorm of a bunch of people. If you can do it to a dorm, you can do it to an apartment building.
Right.
And if you can do it to an apartment building, you can do it to a home.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can test if this is going to be just like, yep, this is fine, it's acceptable. If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear, that old line, which is baloney. But it'll go to, instead of just COVID, it'll be to this disease or that disease. And again, what they can look at is genetic material.
Absolutely.
So they can identify who is in your house, or at least how many different people are in your house. I mean,
Right? Think about that.
and again, this is maybe 5 steps forward.
Or it might already be done.
Yeah, no, you're actually right on. I mean, what they're trying to test, like there's a company out of MIT that's trying to turn sewage into observatories of basically human behavior. And I would ask who's observing the human behavior, who becomes that observer. And currently, with the COVID results, because we participate with the World Health Organization, again, your results would have to be disclosed to the World Health Organization because we're a participating state. And do we want that kind of information going outside of our country? Like that's
my most egregious. The problem that I have the most with this is the fact that it went forward without any consent of the people. There was absolutely no notice. They went to the city or back door and didn't bother to say, okay, can we vote on whether or not, I mean, can we even hear whether or not we want to be observed in this way? That's really troubling.
It is. And mostly because you are being researched on. You are now the focus of the research.
Right.
No longer is the water. Like it turns the population into being researched on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really quick, I want to touch a little bit on what your group has done with regard to protecting women's sports and men's sports as well, too, because I know you've been very outspoken about that as well.
Yeah.
We've got about a minute and a half here.
Okay, yeah, no, I really find that so important. Coming out of high school, I was recruited by multiple universities that traditionally were held for men's scholarships, like crazy ones like Yale and Harvard and Columbia and all these universities. The world just opened up for me as a female athlete, the world that had only been open to male athletes. And looking at your composition biologically in terms of being an XY or an XX chromosome is kind of important.
Yeah.
So if we're going to start ignoring that, let's just all go back to pageants. I mean, honestly, like it'll be subjective reasoning. How do you know who won the race? It's just not even logical, regardless of your feelings on any issue, because it's not about that. It's trying to promote fair competition so that we as females who were born with an XY chromosome, or XX chromosome, have an opportunity for success, that same avenue that men have always had. And to just ignore your chromosomes at birth is not okay, because it'll totally rule out our ability to get those scholarships.
Yep.
So I feel very passionately about this
I
one.
love that. That's fantastic. And thank you so much for coming in today. If you're interested in learning more about this group, you can research them and search them online on Facebook and look for North Dakota Conservative Advocates. Margo, thank you so much
thanks for having
coming
me.
on today. It's been really fun having you.
Yeah. Great having you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
You
Okay,
bet.
when we come back, we will do a little brain food for you.
Today's households have more digital devices than ever before. More links to family, business, education, and entertainment. Beck Communications spent over 10 years building North Dakota's fastest fiber optic internet service. Beck Lightband Internet, outpacing speeds in large cities nationwide. Lightband Internet handles all your digital needs without throttling your connection to the world. Beck Communications, valuable digital connections in rural North Dakota.
Watch No Filter with me, Debbie Schlussel, for no-nonsense, unfiltered analysis of the news that matters to you. You'll see engaging guests.
It began a 444-day nightmare.
Entertaining analysis, and it has everything to do with something that happened in history. And honest movie reviews. Trust me, this is just atrocious. No Filter with Debbie, weeknights at 10 p.m. Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors. Use your promo code, and for a limited time, when you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Welcome back. No apologies on Beck. Time for brain food.
Yeah, I like brain food.
Nourishment for your noggin.
It's always good because we give you words, we give you information, sometimes some fabulous stories. I love your stories. Your stories are great. My first word today, I like vocabulary stuff. If you can't tell, I'm kind of a grammar nerd. So this first word is a word that I have heard and I've used before. You would usually say squash, but it's quash, Q-U-A-S-H. It's a verb that basically means to suppress or extinguish summarily and completely. You quash a rebellion, for instance. As a transitive verb, you can nullify, especially by judicial action, or the first known use of quash was in the 13th century, actually. Quash an indictment, judicial action is quashed. Middle English quashen is for where this comes from, to smash, from Anglo-French. Quasser, casser from Latin. Quassare, to shake violently, shatter, and to annul, from late Latin cassare, from Latin cassus, void. To stop something by the use of force is to quash it.
It's also used legislatively or politically. Yes,
it is, and how do you use it legislatively? Do you see?
Quash an action.
You just kind of squish it and
squish it,
whoosh it up a little
squash
bit.
it, quash it.
Some
that
words.
reminded me of you remember those games where you like hit it, bop it, twist it, pop it?
Yeah, right. What was that game?
Those are good. Bop it. It's called bop it, I think.
Nice. That is totally of our youth. That is a thing from our youth. So demolish, desolate, destroy, devastate, nuke, rub out, ruin, smash, waste, wreck. All fabulous words related to quash that would be synonyms. So quash.
Wow.
You can use it.
Alrighty. So I've got just a priceless gem of a video clip here.
Okay.
One of my favorite all-time U.S. Representatives, Hank Johnson.
Okay.
Yes, Hank Johnson. He is one heck of a character. And he was talking with an admiral from the U.S. Navy on military presence on the island of Guam.
Okay.
And he had some serious concerns. Yes, I know.
Okay. I think I vaguely remember this now.
No, Lori, don't make fun of this concern.
Okay.
Let's just play the clip and let the viewers see.
Let it speak for itself.
No, this is a island that at its widest level is, what, 12 miles from shore to shore, and at its smallest level, or smallest location, it's 7 miles between one shore and the other. Is that correct?
I don't have the exact dimensions, but to your point, sir, I think Guam is a small island.
Very small island, and about 24 miles, if I recall, long. So 24 miles long, about 7 miles wide at the least widest place on the island, and about 12 miles wide on the widest part of the island. And I don't know how many square miles that is. Do you happen to know?
I don't have that figure with me, sir. I can certainly supply it to you if you'd like.
Yeah, my fear is that the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
We don't anticipate that.
Like a boat. Like you get too many people on there, it'll just flip over.
Well, that makes sense.
Wow. These people are leaders.
I love it. I love this guy.
Yikes.
He's awesome. Now, you may wonder why I brought it up. It's because it was on this day in 2010 that he had that wonderful interaction with the Admiral. And,
I do remember hearing about it.
I think here is a good opportunity for another vocabulary word, narrowest. Now, he was saying least widest.
Right.
I don't know. You could look up narrowest and let our viewers know if maybe that was.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I don't mean to ridicule, but Hank's got to know that.
It's not going to flip over.
That this is just too good to let go.
That is just...
If you say something like that, it's going to stick with you.
That is forever. The video is forever. Well, my next word comes from an article. I saw a WorldNet Daily article about Candace Owens, and she was fighting back after an offensive tweet. You may have heard about that. This was the quote. "What has already happened, though, is that another liberal has been unmasked as contemptuous of a woman of color who has the temerity to think for herself." And I thought, ooh, I love that word, temerity, which is a noun, which means basically recklessness. It means unreasonable or foolhardy, contempt of danger or opposition, rashness. A reckless act. So some synonyms would be audaciousness, brashness, brassiness, cheekiness, chutzpah. I love saying that. It's just fun. Chutzpah or chutzpah. Somebody who has gall or nerve or nerviness or purtiness, or somebody who is nervy enough to, take somebody on like that. So I love the word temerity. It was first known use in 15th century. Temerity.
Yeah, that's a good word. I do like that one.
I do too.
Okay, next for me, show the little map. So we were talking about Hank Johnson's infamous island of Guam. You see it circled there. You see where United States and Mexico is on the far right, and you kind of jaunt on over. The first island you see right in the center of the screen is Hawaii, and then Guam. And then if you look a little further to the left, you see the Philippines, which we've talked about recently on A Brain Food.
Sure. Above that, Japan. Now, it's important to know Japan is up there, and the United States is where it is because Guam played a significant role in World War II. But interestingly to me, there's a similar timeline with Guam as there was with the Philippines. And both of the Philippines and Guam had been under Spanish control. And the Jesuits came and they were converting people.
And eventually, then it was just totally Spanish control.
Right. So yeah, Guam, I just actually was on my radar just actually 2 days ago. We got some very sad news with the RNC that the this woman who is my counterpart for the territory of Guam. So on the RNC, there are 6 territories, and Guam is one of them. Margaret Metcalf just passed away suddenly. I just heard Guam just yesterday. I heard about this. So very, very, very sad. She was very, very well known and beloved on the island of Guam.
That's too bad.
So, yeah,
so yeah, Guam is
still
still a territory of the U.S.
It is.
Because we came in during the Spanish-American War, just like we did with the Philippines. Except on this one, we just walked in and said, "Yeah, it's ours now."
We're taking it.
Yeah. Interesting
Anyway,
history.
all right.
So I'm sorry about your friend.
No, very, very sad news. But when we come back, we're going to go back and do another JREO.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with 1 truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Big shout out to North Dakota and Beck News, where you can watch the Dr. Duke Show each weekday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time.
North Dakota is one of the last bastions of sanity in our republic. The legislature consistently passes pro-life and family legislation. This session, North Dakota legislature is trying to thwart efforts to allow boys to say they are girls and play on girls' sports teams. Go North Dakota.
And thanks for carrying the Dr. Duke Show on Beck TV.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with 1 truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Welcome to No Apologies on Beck. Well, it is the 5th and final segment of the night, and we are going to talk about another one of Joseph Robinette Biden Jr.'s executive orders.
Okay, that's where the JREO comes in for those of you who are having like JR, like Ewing, why are you talking about Dallas? Okay, so we are talking about Joseph Robinette's executive orders. We have gone through ad nauseum, many of them. They tend to have a common theme, which is monetary redistribution. And I have a feeling that tonight, bigly. All right, let's see our very first one tonight. This one
is a memorandum on maximizing assistance from the Federal Emergency Management Agency.
FEMA.
Yes.
shall provide a 100% federal cost share for all work eligible for assistance under Public Assistance Category B.
Yep. Category B includes pretty much everything. It's a disinfection to medical waste disposal, medical transport. It involves household pets.
Wow.
The PPE that we hear a lot about. And
it's very all-encompassing, in other words. It's a blank check, in a word.
And we've talked about this before. The 100% federal share has been in other executive orders. And again, what it means is that the states and cities that were most severely affected, which means the Democrat ones because they shut their states down the worst and the longest,
right.
Or the least, what would Hank say? The least shortest. They shut their states down the least shortest amount of time.
Right.
Those are the ones that are hurting the most, and that's where the money's going to go. Now, the money has to come from somewhere, so it's going to come from the taxpayers at large in the United States, and those that had a better head on their shoulders and didn't completely kill their economy will be contributing to the money that is going to go to the morons in the blue states.
Again, the redistribution from those very clever states to the not so clever states.
Yeah. And it'll all be based on political everything, political reasons, and then they'll use the cover of science and the cover of necessity.
FEMA, pandemic, you know what? Usually these are used for like tornadoes. FEMA stuff, I mean, I don't know about you, but every time I think about FEMA, I think about, okay, FEMA comes in after a hurricane. FEMA comes in after a disaster, like you know, they used it in Tennessee for the tornadoes. But now, we're just going to use it all the time, I think, apparently. So.
Well, money is free now, so this is a good time to use it for
that
anything.
is good, since it's free money. Okay. All right, we're going to go to a second Biden executive order. This one is an actual executive order this time. Executive order on the establishment of intra-agency task force on the reunification of families. How timely and interesting is this? Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
awkward.
This was signed on February 2nd. Okay, so we're 6 weeks now past that, and wow, have
Look
things
what's happened
changed.
since.
Wow,
Yeah, no
have
kidding.
things changed. Did we have that up?
Again? Yeah.
My administration condemns the human tragedy that occurred when our immigration laws were used to intentionally separate children from their parents or legal guardians, in other words, families.
There it is. Okay.
And this is something now. I mean, at the time you could say, well, okay, that goes along with the rhetoric. To look at it again now, when we see, as you and I have talked about on other shows,
right,
the number of separated children has skyrocketed. Everything is worse on the border, but if these guys could go ahead with their platitudes 6 weeks ago and say, we condemn the human tragedy.
That's right.
that
we don't want to separate families. Just tell me what's going on right now at the southern border, because I have a feeling there are some separated families, like thousands.
Yes, there are.
Of them. Okay, so let's go and see the next one here. The task force shall identify all children who were separated from their families at the United States-Mexico border between January 20th, 2017 and January 20th, 2021. Okay, Orange Man bad. That's just, I mean, you know what, you can figure out there's a purposeful reason to go back and have to say, okay, this is what Trump did, and he did things that were so bad. And even I was told I could not subject myself to the Biden presser today. I just could not do it.
Oh, it was great.
I just couldn't do it. It would make me. Anyway, I was told, however, that he did not really necessarily answer his questions without a lot of notes. He had a lot of notes that he was using.
Yes, he did.
So.
All right, next graphic. This executive order will account for providing recommendations to heads of agencies concerning the exercise of any agency authorities necessary to reunite the children with their families, including recommendations regarding the possible exercise of parole or issuance of visas or other immigration benefits.
Yeah.
So I don't know, they're not necessarily considering just sending them back to their families in Mexico or in Guatemala or in Honduras or in El Salvador. Everything that they do is designed to make it more likely that more people are going to come, and we're seeing that. It's happening real time right now.
I think last night we showed the video of Biden, even in the Democratic debate saying, you know, surge the border. Like, you know, what? How are people supposed to take that exactly? What do you think is going to happen when you say publicly that the wall building is going to stop, that there are still breaks in the wall, and that
we're going to increase services?
We're going to increase services. Every single signal that he has said has just been an absolute welcome in, welcome in.
The next graphic, it continues with that doing everything necessary to reunite children with their families. It goes on to say recommendations regarding the provision of additional services and support to the children and their families, including trauma and mental health services, and also the reunification of any additional family members of the children who are separated, such as siblings. There is a compelling humanitarian interest. Well, no crap, Sherlock.
No kidding, dude.
But, I mean, just platitudes after platitudes. But again, everything is just having them come on, and it's only going to get worse.
Huge strategic error on his part, if you ask me, too, because I do not think that as a whole the country is going to think that this is a good thing, particularly if one lives in Texas or Arizona.
Last graphic. The task force shall coordinate as appropriate and consistent with applicable law with relevant stakeholders, including domestic and international non-governmental organizations, NGOs. NGOs.
Yep,
You're kidding me. NGOs are stakeholders.
Yep.
But the citizens of this country are not.
Yep. That's how it goes.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
All right, we are done today, but next time, join us. We will have a guest in studio, and we will do an off the cuff to finish up the week as well. So join us next time.